Stone Temple Pilots on vinyl. Which are the best versions? Were all their albums recorded all analog? We're going to find out next. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Josh from Hi-Fidelity Records. Long time no see. Haven't recorded a video in a while. Been behind the scenes working on some stuff that I'm excited about, and I think you guys are going to be excited about too. So stay tuned for that. But I wanted to come to you and kind of maybe continue the conversation that I had on Steve Westman's channel about Stone Temple Pilots vinyl. You know, I really... they're kind of right. They're back into everyone's kind of mind right now because of these fantastic reissues by Analog Productions. This is the Core, released in 1992, their debut LP. These are cut 45 RPM, yes, from the original analog tapes and mastered by Ryan Smith. So if you don't have this, they're still in stock. This is definitive. This is awesome. Great sounding record. But we've been talking about Stone Temple Pilots and a lot of 90s records, you know. A lot of people think that's kind of the dawn of digital, you know, and we have a lot of people who are starting to record to Pro Tools or recording to ADAT at that time. But a lot of these classic bands, you know, like your STP and your, of course, Nirvana, and of course your Smashing Pumpkins, you know, they were fans of music from the 60s and the 70s, and well, they didn't have ADATs and Pro Tools back then. They had to record to tape, and they loved that sound, and they wanted their records to sound like their heroes, you know what I mean? Like the Beatles, like Zeppelin, like Yes, like, you know, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, you know, because there's something magic when something is recorded to tape and it's pressed onto vinyl and you put that needle down. There's some synergy happening. I'm not saying that digitally recorded vinyl cannot and does not sound good. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's some magic happening. So let's talk a little bit about STP. We're going to focus on them. Their first, I believe, 4 albums were recorded to tape. So that would be Core, that would be Purple, Tiny Music, Songs from the Vatican Gift Shop, and 4. I believe they were all recorded to tape. They were all tracked live, right? They recorded them live, you know, and which is the way their heroes did them. You know, they tracked them live and then they went back and they maybe did some overdubs. They're like, oh man, I think I can do that solo better. Oh man, I think I can improve on that vocal. So that's what they would do. They would track it live, one room, and then they'd go back and then they would maybe track over some things that they wanted to smooth out. But first up, I want to say the original version of Core. We're gonna talk about Core. This is too long of an album to be on a 33 RPM. So any version that you see it's on 33 RPM is just not going to sound its best, and that includes the original. Now, there was only 2 original versions. There was a European pressing and there was a Brazilian pressing. Did not come out in America, but it's just too long of a record to be on 33 RPM. So that's really where this one shines from Analog Productions. But if you want to go back and you want to hear some original stuff, they did release some UK 45 RPM versions. And this one we have right here, I don't know if you can see, is Plush. Boom. And this has Plush. Forget the other songs on here. We've got Sin, and then we have acoustic version of Plush on here. And fantastic sounding. This is UK 45 RPM. And I really think this kind of rivals the Analog Productions 45 RPM. But it only has 2 songs on it. So it's kind of like, you know, what are you going to do? But these are fantastic sounding. I really recommend this one. It also came with like a iron-on t-shirt transfer. So if you can find these dudes, they're hard to find because they were UK only. Otherwise, I say if you're going to go for Core, you just need to pick up the beautiful, we'll hold it up again, the beautiful Analog Productions 45 RPM cut by Ryan K. Smith. What a great version of this record. Next up, Analog Productions is going to be putting out Purple. probably later on this year, their second album, which was also recorded to tape the exact same way. But if you're jonesing for it and you don't want to wait, they also did a little promo EP. Let me see if we can get a picture of this here. See if we can get it in focus. Boom. So this is actually a UK 45 RPM promo. We got Vaseline and Unglued on one side and Silver Gun Superman and Still Remains on the other. Wow, this thing smokes. Analog Productions has definitely got their work cut out for them on this one if they want to better this UK 45 RPM. This is actually a promo, so I'm sure just radio DJs got these. These weren't available in stores, but hard to find a clean one. But man, smoking good, and you really realize what a fantastic band they were and still are. I mean, they were just doing things that, you know, even bands like Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana just, not only were they not doing, they just musically weren't capable of. I mean, the guys in Stone Temple Pilots were like expert level musicians. I mean, Robert and Dean DeLeo are some of the finest, you know, songwriters ever of that generation for sure. But I mean, ever. So if you're jonesing for some Purple, go grab this one. But definitely stick around for the Analog Productions. Here's another one. This is also a UK 45. This has got Sex Type Thing, and it has Wicked Garden, and also has a plush acoustic on here. So this is another UK one that you can pick up. It's got a cool picture of a promo picture of the guys on there, if you can see that. That's awesome. So when it comes down to the Purple record, the original version came out in America and it came out in Europe. It came out in purple vinyl and it came out in black vinyl, both places. I'm not sure what happened in between them recording it and who cut it. I know the guy at Frankfurt and Wayne cut it. I reached out to him. I also reached out to Robert DeLeo with no results. They didn't get back with me. Just trying to figure out, well, if you recorded this to tape, man, like what happened? Because the original vinyl is very bad. I mean, and you don't realize it until you shoot it out with the CD. And the CD, it sounds monstrous. I mean, really, really good. And that's why I was seeking out that 45 I just showed you, because I knew it could sound good. I knew it was recorded well, but man, the original Purple vinyl, it just isn't it. It is noisy, number one, no matter how clean it is, because you have to turn it up really loud, and then there's just like no dynamic range. So I would stay away from the original Purple, and I would stay away from the original Core. What I would do is, if you're a big fan, try to get those 45 RPMs, and definitely get the Analog Productions reissues, because they're far and away the best full album reissues of those. But Analog Productions is not putting out Tiny Music, and that happens to be my favorite Stone Temple Pilots album, Tiny Music. I really felt like they came into their own on this one, became their own band. You know, there's shades of the Beatles on here, shades of Zeppelin. I mean, the textures, the guitar work, the songwriting. I mean, this by far is their best album, at least to me as a former musician, somebody that's coming from that angle. Recorded to tape, and this is an original pressing on Atlantic, 1996, and awesome. Pick this up. I've had the music on vinyl reissue. I know what you're saying. Hey, what about the music on vinyl? It's awesome, and it does have an extended version of press play, but I don't care about that. This basically rivals the RL Zeppelin as far as slam, as far as argue there, in your room dynamics. Fantastic. Let's see if we can get a look at the label. Got the old school Atlantic label on there. Awesome pressing. Direct metal mastered. This was cut by Steve Marcuson at Precision. And man, whatever they did with this, they did it right, because this album is killer. I mean, you know, you remember the singles off this, Tripping on a Hole in a Paper Heart, Big Bang Baby, Tumble in the Rough, obviously Lady Picture Show. You're going to be hearing them again for the first time on this original. So I know it's pricey, But this smokes the music on vinyl, and I guarantee it's going to smoke the digitally sourced reissue that came out here recently. Really a fantastic record, and I definitely recommend chasing this one down. So, if you're a Stone Temple Pilots fan, what I would say is wait for that purple from Analog Productions. Go ahead and pick up the core, and if you're like really a huge fan, try to track down those promo 45 UK 12-inch singles. Try to track those down because they're fun, you know, and they have really cool pictures that maybe you haven't seen in there. But when it comes to Tiny Music, I'm not seeing an audiophile reissue of that coming, but the original one is audiophile, big time. So pick this one up. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Love talking about vinyl with y'all, and I'm going to be coming to you soon. Got some cool things coming. Appreciate it. We'll see you on the next time.